there, welcome to the glorious Italian countryside. How fitting that we should be surrounded by young growing crops, for over here, behind me, is qualifying for the EFRA 1/8 Buggy B Euros.
Well, the Ongaro Ring is well and truly alive and jumping, with 140 drivers representing 20 nations today, all racing the clock, hoping to post fast enough times to put themselves directly in the semi-finals tomorrow. Plenty of new blood vying to take control of the event right from the opening laps, with David Ongaro showing he's done his homework, topping the timesheets pretty consistently from Q1, and teammate Marco Barafolo not that far behind. Well, last year's TQ Jeremy Pite and last year's winner Alessandro Maggi having just a little catching up to do, while many other visitors were left a little shell-shocked by the track itself.
Well, Ben, you were probably one of the most exciting things about last year's Euros. Are you having an exciting time this time?
Yeah, exciting, probably not the word to describe my weekend so far. Yeah, we had quite a bad Friday. We had a 1:33 in the first round and a 97th in the second round, so not quite the pace that we're on in Switzerland. It's a very, very hard track to learn. It's really is local knowledge. You can see that with the times the Italians are all on top.
We'll check in with Ben later as he continues to learn and adjust his setup to the track. But back out again, Ongaro is hard to touch on this track, technically in his own backyard. Though he did get slightly slower whilst Barafolo flamed and reigning champion Alessandro Maggi caught up to second. A relentless morning with battles both on and off the track. I caught up with the hardest working man in RC, Mr. Neo Buggy, Philip Mortstead, who spent the morning soaking up the atmosphere.
Phil, this is a B Euros that most A Euros would be proud of. I was just thinking, it's quite lucky that you chose to specialise in nitro buggies, isn't it? Because if that section had died after you set your sight up, things wouldn't be looking so good for you now, would they?
No, that's obviously true. I think we've all played a small part in helping the class, if you will. But yeah, no, it's going well. 10 years on, everything's looking pretty good. 140 entries here from many different countries. It's a good race.
What do you think the general mood's like? I know you talk to all of the drivers and you get a kind of a feeling in the pits. What do you think people are? They seem quite positive, don't they?
Yeah, I'd definitely say so. I think the facility's really good. They've put in a lot of work. The track is pretty special. It's quite similar to the 2011 Euro A track in Germany. But I think most people are pretty happy. It's in Italy, sun's shining for now, and it's pretty well organised.
Not going to get your tip for the top because, well, is it any coincidence that the man or the boy whose name is on this facility is pretty unbeatable so far?
Well, I don't know. It might be coincidence. It's called the Ongaro Ring, and the guy who's the quickest, David Ongaro. I think the other RB runner, Marco Barufalo, he's pretty quick. There's obviously Oscar Baldo from Spain. He's the dark horse for the final. I think he's just, he's got the whole Model X racing team behind him, and they know what it takes to win. And then, there's plenty of Italian guys and foreigners as well. It's difficult to pick one.
Well, after lunch, Barafolo put his problems behind him and rose to the top. RB Engine certainly making a great start. And it just so happened that another RB driver had travelled a considerable distance just to check out this exciting event.
Yuchi-san, welcome to Italy. What brings you to the B Euros?
I'm a help Kyosho driver.
Are you impressed by the drivers here?
Anyway, it is first time for him to come to the Euro B. He wants to watch the driver. Also, some driver is very fast and great possibility to win the world in future. Like a young talent driver is a lot. Yeah, he wants to see this kind of driver.
Your move to RB Engines from Orion, was this a difficult decision? And are you happy with the change?
Of course.
As you know, he got 2000 world champion with RB engine, so he felt return back to home. And he said the performance of the engine is very nice, and also the very reliability. Also the Mr. Eric is a nice person and a nice guy. He's happy to use the RB engine.
Final round and make or break for many of the drivers still struggling to adapt to this track. One that marks again a return to the so-called European style, which essentially means, well, flat. So why is this track so hard?
There are very, very few clean laps, actually. Why do you think that is?
It is a very hard track to keep clean on. It is. There's little bits of it that you come into it for one lap perfectly. You come into the same line again on lap 2, and it'll just throw the car off. It's really, really quite random in places.
Yes, it's hard because the jump is particular. It's not the same jump in Switzerland or in France. It's hard to have speed.
It's not big jumps, are they? It's sort of flat, but it's still deceptively tricky.
Yes, we jump for no mistake and not for a good time.
Is there problems with visibility with the dust?
It's not really the dust. It's the rostrums are a tiny bit low, so you can't really see the far end of the track that much. There's a couple of blind spots over the big jumps. It's just little tiny things that will hinder your confidence really while you're driving around. It'll just make you think a little bit more, and some people just make mistakes from it.
Well, Q4 done, and one thing more predictable than the track is that TQ is David Ongaro.
He's very happy with qualifying. He managed to get 2 TQs in the first 2 rounds, so in the third and in the fourth he went for some testing for the long runs.
How are you going to approach actually racing on the track rather than just going fast?
He's starting with number 1, so it's going to be not easy but easier. Of course, he will need to fight to start with number 1 in the final, but he's prepared to do it.
But then, moments after Q4 is completed, panic and mayhem break out across the facility as water falls from the sky in a storm of biblical proportions, putting a rather damp end to the day.
Well, hello, we're back. It stopped raining and the club have put in a phenomenal effort to get the track back up and running, and finals day is go. As we've just heard, David Ongaro Ring will be on pole in the Semi-A, with Alessandro Stocco on pole in Semi-B. Alberto Pabra qualified in 3rd, Marco Barafolo ended up with 4th, then Phil's pick, Spaniard Oscar Baldo 5th, then last year's TQ Jeremy Pité 6th, and current champion Alessandro Maggi qualified in 7th. But nobody is guaranteed a place in the final. It really is all to play for in those all-important finals and those bump-up positions in the lower finals. So stay tuned to F3.WS for the finals roundup and to find out if it started raining again. I think it's looking pretty good.